Aloha, Voyagers. Voyager here to guide the way through today's journey. So we had a little bit of issue with the recording, but so we're going to have to do a voiceover. As you can see, I have upgraded our molecular assemblers and our pattern providers, added quite a few in there because I ran out of space and we need quite a bit of space. It's still not the most efficient, but it is going to work the way that we need it to for now. As you can see, I've rearranged the patterns to allow the molecular assemblers to be working on different projects at the same time so that things move much quicker. Over here, what we went ahead and did was created another netherite generator or cobblestone generator using the netherite version of the resource generator. So lava, it's really just have to put a bucket of lava there. The device was not necessarily needed because it does not consume the lava like the obsidian does. But the reason we do that is because we're going to be collecting all of the items into a device which will allow us to create singularities, and we will have unlimited wireless distance and across dimensions to our applied energistic systems. It will also allow us to link different AE systems. So if we add an AE system over near by the mob farm, we'll be able to access everything at the mob farm at the same time. We're going to go ahead and make a 64K disk. Well, not the full disk, just the drive or the component itself. And we're going to make a matter condenser. And the matter condenser we will place down once it's made, which was pretty instant. I think the 64Ks was done pretty much as soon as we clicked it as well. We're going to take that over and we're going to go nearby the area that we are going to be running cobblestone and gathering up stuff to place into a condenser, which will allow us to make singularities. And I've got the condenser in my hand. I'm going to place it over here by this chest where we have all of our Certus quartz going, and we'll get a input bus on the bottom. But you got a couple options to pump things in. You could trash them, you could turn them into singularities, or you can turn them into matter balls. Matter balls can later be turned into singularities using another device if you wish, but I find it easier to place it as singularities directly. So here we're just going to pipe over the cobblestone, grab any pipe wrench and put it on exit, throw in the filter, the speed upgrade, which I later put in a netherite upgrade so that it will move 64 items per tick. But we want to make sure that it whitelists the regular cobblestone and not the condensed stuff, because then we would be losing out majorly. And the matter condenser here requires no energy. It doesn't look like it's doing anything, but that's just because it takes a little bit of time to fill up 256,000 pieces of anything. So we're just going to grab another import bus and place it here so that it imports the singularities. And here is where I realized, it was doing things, or I thought it wasn't doing anything, so I switched it over to our matter balls. We later on will get them back to singularities, because it does do something. It just the progress bar moves much slower. All right, place down that import and it starts pulling them in. And from here, we're going to grab some acceleration cards. We haven't really used acceleration cards on anything yet. So anything that we've gotten from quests and so forth, they're all just right here. We're just going to throw them all in there, or, quite a few. Max, which was 4, it looked like. And that will make it condense a little bit faster. Hopefully. I think its limiting factor is the amount of cobblestone being pumped in at one time. So here we're going to go ahead and create the or showing you the singularities. So here's where they could be created with matter balls inside of a reaction chamber and some lava and electricity, or just 256 items, or 256,000 items, which is what we're doing here. We've run out of cobble, and that netherite thing is making 64 at a time. So it is going to take a few moments. It's not a very fast process. All right, so for what we were trying to do, we're going to need to make a quantum link chamber. So we're going to need some matter balls, or not matter balls, flux pearls, and we're going to turn those into, or use those for a lot of what we're about to make, which is the quantum link chamber. We need 8 of the one of those, and 8 of the walls. So it's a 3 by 3 by 1 structure, or 3 by 1 by 3 structure. It's just kind of like another portal, but that link goes in the center, or the ring, goes into the center. And once you place in the singularity, then it will allow you, wherever you put the other singularity, allows them to communicate. So we're also, while we're waiting on that, we're going to get some P2P going and start running P2P up our base so that we can get channels throughout the whole thing instead of just down where they're at right now. I will say this now, because probably going to cut it out of the video that we'll see later. P2P, you cannot use the wireless system through P2P. It says it's not on the same system. Not when you're doing what we're going to do, which is the across dimension which is the cross dimension quantum link. So here, while it's making that part that's going to go inside of our crafting terminal, showing that the flux dust was being created, and that's why it was taking so long. It does take a moment because we don't have acceleration cards in anything except for that one matter condenser so far. But we're going to grab that and we're going to place it inside of our AE2, or our wireless crafting terminal. But we're going to remove those wireless boosters because we won't need those any longer once we get this up and running. You can see once I place that inside there, it opens up another slot for the singularity. And here we're going to go ahead and start with the P2P. So P2P, essentially what it does is allows for the system. It's point to point. So you notice I've got the small side of the cable facing out, like away from the ME system, and I have the large point, or the flat portion, against the dense cable. Now, in order to power the cable and power that device, we have to run power like we just did. If we ran just the cable and not put the flux on there or the crystals, then the flux crystal or flux fiber, then it would try to transmit more channels through there, and it just creates a loop, and that's never a good thing. So that's how you power the P2P tunnels. I got to take it off temporarily so I can grab some more cable. I forgot my smart and dense cable, and we are out of glass, like almost out of glass. I get down to where I had to make these just one or two at a time, one or two sets at a time, because it is shameful how low I am on glass. But we will be automating furnaces in the next episode. All right, we're going to place down a dense cable there, and continue the glass cable up, and then we'll be able to place in our P2P or P2P point to point port. And yes, I faced it the wrong way. We want the inside or the other side to be facing like it's going to itself on the other side, like that. So now you can see that it's at a frequency of quad 0, but it's carrying all those things on there, which is like it is 9 items. So we're going to come down here. We're going to grab our memory card, shift right click, and it creates a frequency and saves it to that memory card. Then we can just come up here and do a regular right click, and it says, oh, we're on this frequency here. So now should be able to access our all of our stuff in our ME system again, or AE2 system again, without removing that P2P. Now, what I do like to do is place a frame next to a P2P, either at the beginning or the end. It really doesn't matter which to me. These will end up getting colored later on as well, but this allows me to not forget which goes where. You can get away with just one memory card for all your stuff, but I know that in the past I've had, like, when a server restarts, sometimes the P2P connections will disconnect and you have to reconnect them. So going through with the memory card and selecting each individual one again can become quite tiresome. So I just place that so I just place one in a frame next to each P2P. So we go into the corner, we drop down with a whole nother set of glass cable. No, they did not touch. So that's good. And then we'll run some more thin or regular flux cable to that point from a P2P. Memory card saved, but it saved frequency, but it didn't do anything because it doesn't have any power yet. So add some power there like that, and now it's like, oh, cool, I'm online, but I'm not connected to a twin, so it's not really doing anything. Once I get these right here connected, we head up to the top where the mechanism stuff is. Now that we have a few P2P tunnels set up, let's go ahead and get this quantum bridge built for our wireless AE. Now, one thing I do mess up here is I'm putting this on a P2P tunnel, which it cannot be, and it has to go directly to the controller some way. But you see, once it's formed, it will make a multi-block structure, and the pairing of the singularities one goes inside there and one goes inside of our wireless terminal. Let's see if we have any singularities yet, and we do, and we just need the one for each singularity. You are actually going to make 2 of what you need, and any explosion will work, but it's going to be an explosion with the singularity and ender pearls or ender dust. It doesn't matter which one, but we have the most ender pearls, so we're just going to use that. So we're going to take because we're the ones doing it, we can actually accidentally grief our own base. We're going to take this tiny TNT, which does a lot more damage than you might think, and we're going to go to back to the end of the peninsula where we first originally had our house built. But let's grab a button before we head that way. All right, so just place down the TNT, the button, drop the ender pearl singularity, and make the little explosion, and boom! All right, makes all that little bit of area, and now we have our quantum entangled singularity. So what happens on one end happens on the other, which we are getting very close to doing in real life, which is pretty freaking awesome. It is highly recommended that you rename these pairs so that you know which quantum entangler goes to what. Because let's say we add one to the mob farm, we add one to our wireless terminal, we add one to our power base once we start working with nuclear power, and so forth. Eventually, if something happens, we need to know which ones go where. And here we fly out, we find out, oh, we're missing a singularity, so we put that in there. Well, the singularity is not on the same wireless point, and that's when I discovered that we cannot have the singularity on the same point. What happens is all I had to do was take it and attach it directly to the primary network without going through a P2P, and we then had access, as you saw, in the nether with no problems whatsoever. So we'll head back down and you'll see what I did. Just ran the cable directly across. It got a little messy because I wasn't paying attention to how I ran it, but it ran across. We re-linked our wireless terminal to that wireless access point, just like this. We did that already, but doing it again as an example. Notice that I took out the range extenders because we no longer need them. All they do is, at this point, is increase the amount of power that our system uses. But we now have multi-dimensional, pretty much anywhere we go, we have access to our applied energistic systems with no problems whatsoever. Next episode, we're going to go ahead and start with some auto crafting, specifically smelting, because glass, man, I need glass. I'm going to have to make some in between just so we have enough materials so that we can automate. But other than that, mahalo Voyagers, it's been an incredible adventure. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and keep that Voyager spirit alive. We'll see you next time.